Hi YouTubers, me again. Now I suppose you lot are a bit sick of the sight of my face, but this is one of them videos where I've got no option. It's just really I want to tell you a story and I want you to tell me yours in the comments section or do a video response. And basically I just want to talk to you about when I first got a CB. And I might as well go even further back than that and just say how I got a CB. Well, many moons ago, back in, I don't know if it was 79, 80, round about then, a friend of mine got himself a little walkie-talkie. It was a 3-channel General Electric, I think. It was an AM set. I think it had channel 14 and a couple of other channels. Quite a big old, sizable rig, you know. I think you can see my hands here. Big aerial on it. And I see him talking to someone else on it. I thought, oh, I couldn't believe it. I said, how far away is he? And he was like, I don't know, 3-4 miles. Fascinated. Cut a long story short, some weeks later, when me and my friend had the walkie-talkie, went round this guy's house. It was all hush hush then. Didn't tell your neighbour what you were doing, you know. Went up my mate's stairs to the landing, and there was like an airing cupboard. When you open the cupboard, you had like the tank and a shelf, and mounted underneath the shelf was this CB. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, wow, I've only seen them in the film Convoy, you know, CBs, blimey, they're illegal and all that. It was all like underground. So anyway, matey puts the old rig on, puts a call out for someone and was showing me how it all works. That was that. I had to get one, and that's why I got a CB. I was fascinated by it. So I got one anyway, sort of getting onto the thing. There I was, got my CB on. My first CB was a Bristol little AM set, had a Turner plus 2, I'll start again, a Turner plus 2U mic on it, which was a good mic back in the day, probably still a good mic now. 5-foot fire stick on a DV27 ground plane and a car battery with a charger. I've got it all in a deal. And the channels then were packed, you know, and the braking channel in Luton was 1/6. It was 14 in most places, but the hospital bleepers came through on channel 14, so it was decided long before I got my CB it was going to be channel 16. And I sat there in awe at this thing. Blimey, you know, all these voices and everybody, people were selling stuff, chatting up women were chatting up men, you know, any sexy lady breakers out there. That was quite a common thing. And then some women would be any sexy male breakers out there, you know. So I sort of listened and I sort of picked up on, you know, what I might be able to say. So I picked up the mic and I wanted to go on there. I wanted to be part of this, but I was so mic shy. Finally picked up the courage. 1/6 for a 1036. That was my first words on air. I'll never forget it. And amongst all the mush, I heard someone come back, go, yeah, the break for the 1036, it's, I don't know, 8 o'clock or whatever. And I'm sat there thinking, I wonder if he meant me. I still wasn't confident that the thing was working and I'd set it up right. So a few minutes later, 1/6 for a 1036, break for the 1036, it's 8:05. And then, I was alright then, I was thinking, right, it's definitely working. And I was trying to think what I could ask for next. And my next thing was to ask for a rig check. Am I getting out? And I was just about to do that. And the breaker that had given me the 1036, he says, the breaker that had I gave the 1036 to, who is that? And it was like, totally freaked. Turned the rig off and went all hot and sweaty. I'm like, oh my God, don't know what to say. Don't want to, you know. Totally freaked me out. But eventually, one night I had the rig on, I was tuning around the channels, and I heard this voice, and I thought, I'm sure I know him. And it was a friend of mine's brother, elder brother. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. But his handle was Beaker, as in sort of plastic cup, you know, like a beaker. And his name was Steve, nice guy. I was listening, I think, I'm sure that's him. So I went in on the side and said, you know, hello Steve, I think I know you, if your name's Steve, sort of thing. And he said, who's that? You know, it's all like, it's a bit suspicious. People were more open about it by the time I actually got my sex. They're quite expensive back then, even second hand. People were driving around with aerials on their cars, you know, rather than sort of trying to hide it, because there'd been all the marches, you know, in London, millions of CBs in the UK by then. Excuse me. And eventually Steve clocked who I was. He goes, hello mate. He said, I never knew you had a rig, you know. And I said, you're the first person I've spoke to apart from getting a rig check on the 1.6. And I told him my handle, because he was like, what's your handle, mate? And I go like, oh, my handle's Fat Man, as in overweight, you know. Yeah, you can't call yourself that, he said. Yeah, get a decent handle. You're going to get a woman with an handle like that. Well, little did I know. Handle wasn't a problem, you know. I ain't going to say loads of women, but I didn't sort of go short, you know. And that's it. I just really wanted to share that with you. That my first ever contact, that would have been back in 1981 sometime. And yeah, happy days, you know. But since then, you got like the internet, mobile phones, and over the years, I've seen it, as a lot of you would have done, just going downhill. Now there's sort of like a few people that are like little pockets of people. And the trend around here is, and I think probably up and down the country, you can't get away with a DV on a biscuit tin anymore, unless your mate's only round the corner. Most people have got quite a big setup now, you know, something like an IMAX 2000 or a Serio 827, or, you know, a big proper base station. And most people are running 100 watts near enough as standard now, so you can get a good range, you know, into the next town or the nearest breaker to you. But I suppose most of you know that anyway. But one of the next videos that I'm going to do, I noticed in the forums a lot of these people are not so much CBers, but they're 4x4 enthusiasts, and the sort of CB comes along as part of the kit, you know what I mean? You've got to have the snorkel on the what's the name? You've got to have like the big tyres and all, like the you know, adapted suspension and bash plates and special ball joints and you know, like the rubbers that go on the anti-roll bars that will replace them for nylon and all that, and they have a CB. I've never heard anyone on one. I think they only use the CB when they're doing the 4x4 stuff, which is fair enough, you know. So if you've got a 4x4 and you only use your CB when you go off-road, turn it on, you know. Other times you might bump into some muppet like me. I'll chat to you. But there you go. Yeah, I might do a video about that 4x4 CB, you know, how to install a set. It ain't rocket science, you know, but I see a lot of people on the forums like, I don't know what to do, you know. Especially tuning the aerial in, you know, people think because they can hear someone and they can hear them. It's right, but you know, the old SWR is quite important, as we all know. Anyway, that's about it for now. So let's see your comments on your first ever contact, and whether you were nervous, because I was shitting myself, to be perfectly honest. But like I say, it was over 30 years ago now, and I ain't looked back, you know. But there you go, give us all something to think about, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.